Hi guys, how are you all doing? Welcome to episode 6 of Morning Chai and Ikigai. This is your podcast host Priyanka. We are all aware of the kind of uncertainty that has been looming high these days due to the ongoing global pandemic. And we are constantly harrowed by the fear of what's going to happen. And in this situation, I found myself going back to one of my favorite poems. Now, poetry has always been a comfort zone of sorts for me. Besides, I really think that this particular poem has a special significance in the situation that we are currently in. And so I thought I would share this with you guys and talk a little about it as well. Um, because the poem was so representative of the life we are living right now. Of course, it is representative of life back then as well, but I guess poetry and history share an old connection. So the poem I'm going to read out today and later talk about, of course, is W.H Auden's If I Could Tell You. If I could tell you. Time will say nothing, but I told you so. Time only knows the price we have to pay. If I could tell you, I would let you know. If we should weep when clowns put on their show. If we should stumble when musicians play. Time will say nothing, but I told you so. There are no fortunes to be told, although, because I love you more than I can say. If I could tell you, I would let you know. The winds must come from somewhere when they blow. There must be reasons why the leaves decay. Time will say nothing, but I told you so. Perhaps the roses really want to grow. The vision seriously intends to stay. If I could tell you, I would let you know. Suppose the lions all get up and go, and all the brooks and soldiers run away. Will time say nothing, but I told you so? If I could tell you, I would let you know. W.H. Auden composed this poem, If I Could Tell You, in late 1940s. Now, this was the time of the Second World War. Now, around this time, Europe was still suffering the consequences of the war, and these were highly unpredictable and uncertain times for Europe. So, Auden, through his poem, wanted to emphasize that nobody, and by that I mean nobody, can foretell the future. It's only time that is the all-knowing entity. Now, W.H. Auden differed from all the modernist poets of his time, mainly because he preferred simple, easy-flowing words, and he preferred a lucid way of expression. As compared to the complicated vocabulary used by the other poets. So this was his style of writing. So he used a very uncomplicated vocabulary, like is evident in this poem. It's a very simply put poetry, but at the same time it expresses a beautiful and a brilliant message. So now, coming to the poem. This poem is a villanelle. Now, villanelle is a French form of poetry in which the poem consists of 19 lines specifically, and the first and the third line of the first stanza is repeated alternately in the subsequent paragraphs, and forms a final couplet in the last paragraphs. Now, it always has 5 tercets and an ending quatrain. So here. The lines time will say nothing but I told you so, and if I could tell you I would let you know. Now these lines are used as a refrain. Now in this poem, W.H. Auden wanted to express ambiguity as well as clarity, because these were highly unpredictable times. So he wanted this poem to be evident of the tone of the day. So this refrain itself has both ambiguity as well as clarity. Time will say nothing, but I told you so has ambiguity, because it's talking about a hypothetical situation. And if I could tell you, I would let you know. I would let you know this is a confirmatory statement. That is, it has clarity in it. So if I could tell you, I would surely let you know. There is surety in that statement. So these kind of unusual combinations are there throughout the poem. It's because mainly this poem is about knowing nothing in times of uncertainty, and yet knowing that there is a reason for the things that are happening, even if we are not aware of the reason. Now, in the second stanza of the poem, he says, if we should weep when clowns put on their show, if we should stumble when musicians play, time will say nothing, but I told you so. So he means to say that even in the future, if there is something really unexpected happens, like these are unexpected responses to a particular thing. If clowns put on a show, we are supposed to laugh. But he's talking about weeping. Whereas when a musician plays, you hardly stumble, but he's talking about stumbling. So he says even when these unexpected situations occur, time will still be the only entity which will be all knowing and which will say that I told you so. That means time is the only entity that has the capacity and the power to know beforehand what will happen. The third stanza is where we are let in on his feelings for this person who he's addressing the poem to. So there is this line where he says, because I love you more than I can say. So there are many times where when we love someone, but we cannot tell them how much we love them. So of course, actions speak louder than words. But Auden here says, there are no fortunes to be told, although, because I love you more than I can say. If I could tell you, I would let you know. So the next part is a very interesting reflection. So he says, the winds must come from somewhere when they blow, and there must be reasons why the leaves decay. Time will say nothing, but I told you so. So here he wants to say, in a metaphorical way, that we cannot stop things from happening just because we do not know why they're happening. So the winds here could mean the winds of change affecting people, affecting relationships. And the leaves, the decay of leaves, could be the decay of relationships. So he says that there must be some reason why these occur, why the winds of change blow, why there is a decay of these relationships, why people change. But just because we do not know them doesn't mean that they won't happen, or that there is no reason for them happening. So W.H. Auden wants to say that things that are supposed to will happen, and only time will know. Time will stand in testimony of the fact that they are happening. So similarly, he talks about roses that really want to grow. So the roses could be a metaphor for a person in love again. So he speaks about the roses that really want to grow. So sometimes when a person really wants to be in love, the person stays in love, and the vision seriously intends to stay. If I could tell you, I would let you know. And then we reach the final paragraph, the quatrain, wherein he says, suppose all the lions get up and go, and all the brooks and soldiers run away. So here this is a reflection of the ambiguity and the clarity once again. So it's a mixture of both. Now here, lions are supposed to be these creatures of courage. They are majestic creatures which were known for their courage. Similarly with the soldiers are supposed to be brave. Whereas brooks are a metaphor for delicate, for fragile things. Usually they are used as metaphors for that. So when Auden talks about the brooks and soldiers running away, he wants to say that it's almost like the end of the world. The meek and the majestic are both fleeing. And he says, will time say nothing, but I told you so? So it's a question. So here, this could be a rhetoric question. He's saying that even when it's the end of the world, time will still, there's still a possibility that time will say that I knew this all along. So he says, will time say nothing, but I told you so? even then, and he wishes that he knew the answers to these questions. He says, if I could tell you, I would let you know. So he knows that he doesn't have these answers, and he wishes that if he had them, he knows that he would tell his beloved all the answers that he knew. But he knows that just because he does not know the reason behind things happening doesn't mean that they don't exist. And that is my interpretation of the poem, If I Could Tell You. That is what the poem speaks to me about. Now, if you all feel any different, or if some line from this poem speaks differently to you or means different to you, do feel free and drop me a comment. I would love to read it. Now, coming back to the topic, sometimes we tend to get heartbroken because we don't have answers to questions that we would like to ask from life. Sometimes we may not have the right words to express our love to the person we love the most. And we wish we could do a better job. We could have the answers. We could find the right words. But maybe, just maybe, that's how things are meant to be. Just because you do not have the answers or did not find the words to express your love does not mean that the answers or the love don't exist. They do. They very much do. But perhaps the timing is wrong. After all, it's only time that knows and decides whether we ought to be let in on some secrets. And let that be the takeaway message from today's episode of Morning Chai and Ikigai. If you ever feel doubt in life, enjoy the uncertainty. Things that are meant for you will reveal themselves in due course of time. And if they fail the test of time, perhaps they were never meant for you to know, to love, to keep. However, what you can know and be sure of is poetry, is art, is literature. So keep these close, because rest assured, these will provide you company in the loneliest moments and hope in your bleakest hours. On that note, this is your host Priyanka signing out. Until next time, bye-bye. Morning Chai and Ikigai is a bi-weekly podcast. That means fresh episodes will be uploaded every Thursday and Sunday. If you want to connect with me outside the pod, I am there on Twitter and Instagram. My handle is Dr. Priyanka Naik, that is Dr. Priyanka Naik. I'm also there on Facebook, and my YouTube channel is Dr. Priyanka Naik again. So do subscribe, leave me a comment, or rate and review my podcast. I also blog at drpriyankanaik.com.